Good evening, everybody. So tonight we're going to do a easy, simple build. It's what I refer to as a fruit basket because that's what I'm going to use it for. Be stacking my apples in this, and I seen a similar design on YouTube, or not a YouTube, on what do you call it, Etsy, but it didn't have any feet on it. It was just a basket, just the curved piece, and it was designed in a slightly different format so that it had one central square at the bottom that it would serve as its balancing point. Now, I didn't like that because even though it would be balanced there, as long as everything in the basket was equally distributed, it could easily tilt and rock because it had no true base or stability. So I said, well, I'm going to do it a little different. And I decided to put feet on it. And now, one apple, two apples, no apples, 20 apples, it's going to sit and maintain its proper orientation. It's a really easy, simple design to do. And I'm going to show you how to do that step by step in this video. And that looked like it was. And I did not get my, now, getting your kerf right on boxes, anytime you get slots and tabs, a good tight kerf will make assembly both easier and a lot more challenging. Easier is once you put it together, it's going to be a little tougher to get it apart. But when you got all of these slots and tabs to go putting together, these are actually just interlocking slots, it gets to be a little bit challenging. So we're going to show you how to do this start to finish, starting right now. We're not going to drag this out tonight. I want to get that where it's on the angle. Yeah, there we go. I kind of like that. All right. So hope everybody's doing well. And this is going to be one of the most difficult designs that you can learn to do because you've got how many pieces in this thing? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 10 pieces and make up this basket in this particular layout. You can use more and get a fuller weave, if you will. But it's really, really tough to do these 10 pieces and all of them interlocking. And actually, I'm pulling your leg. You got 10 pieces, but they're the exact same piece. You got one piece to design. That's it. One piece. And then it's just a matter of getting your distribution set up right and placing your slots in the right location. Easy peasy. So let's jump over here to Lightburn, show you. The file was already on Hobo with Wood. If you're just like, you know what? Yeah, I don't care how easy it is. I'm lazy and I'm not going to do it. I can go download it. I'm going to go download it. So it's already on the website. But if you wanted to configure it with, like I said, a few more pieces of the lattice in there, this is really, really easy setup. So this is how it comes in if you download it from the website. I've got the two pieces with the two legs on a separate piece. And the difference between these two pieces here, these have got the slots that enter from the top, and these have got this interlocking slots that come up from the bottom. So all these are from the top, all these are from the bottom, and this is 2 of each. And those 3 pieces of 300 by 300 material will take care of all of the entire design. All right, so I've got a new feature in StreamYard, and I didn't realize that I wasn't down to the bottom of my comments, just making sure I didn't see anything, miss anything before we get started. And I'm going to mark this spot in, I said I am, there we go, in the comments, and jump over here to Lightburn. All right. So as usual, if I'm going to start my design, I start with a toolpath of my material size. So if I'm working with a 300 by 300 piece of material, I'll get me a toolpath, put it in the bottom home position, and there's where I'm going to start. Okay, I want to make this now. When I did this, wrong button. When I did this design, I made it as big as I could possibly make it, because I do intend to put my apples and bananas in that. I don't know if I'm apples and the bananas is about. I'm golden delicious, Granny Smiths, and some bananas. That's. I might have to get some red delicious just to give it some color. But anyway, I wanted it as big as I could get it, and so I started with my full piece of material. Then I grab a circle or an ellipse tool, and I just come right in here, just grab it right in the middle, hold my shift and control button, and draw out a perfect circle about as big, and we're probably going to make it about 295 millimeters. So say 295. That is as big as I can possibly get it and keep it on that material. You're like, wait a minute, that's a circle. You don't have a full circle there. Nope, I don't. I'm now going to come in here and I'm going to do an offset inward of, well, that works, 25 millimeter. Do not delete your original. Say okay. Now I've got two circles, one of them about an inch smaller than the other one. Let's put these on a toolpath that we can see a little bit better. There we go. Now I'm going to use this to determine the shape of the bowl. How much of a curve do I want it to be? How much do I want it to be flat or open? And I can simply come up here to my guidelines. And if I put that right in the middle, and if you're not aware, your guidelines, you can go up here when your cursor goes from your arrow to a little flat squiggly line there you can drag guidelines from the top or the bottom and bring them into position. But they are simply lines. And if we scroll out far enough, you can see they're just really, really, really long lines in Lightburn. And their middle point is always at X and Y. So if I take that right there and drag it up here to the center, that would, if I then took and selected that and told it to go to the center of that circle, it's going to pop right there, and that would be the exact center. Now this one I didn't drag over, and I don't need this one. But if I select that one, hold shift on there and tell it to go to the center, then it would actually pull that up and over and center it up over there. But right now, all I needed was, regardless where that center point was at, I was just showing you how that worked if you didn't know. I'm using that to help me visualize the shape of the bowl. How deep do I want the bowl to be? Now, I don't want a bowl that is that deep. So I'm going to select my line and just start arrowing it down until I get to a shape that I like. And I'm just simply eyeballing it. And I think I'm going to go right about there. And then I will go ahead and put that toolpath, because the guideline is on the T1 toolpath. I'm going to go ahead and put it on the O2, the cut path as well. Then I'm going to grab my scissors and come over here and cut away there, 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 and there. And then all I've got is over here. Now those extra long pieces on either side, I don't need them. I can select them, delete them, get rid of them, they're gone. I've got the beginnings of one of my first side pieces. Now here, I put a little radius on here. So it's not going to be something that's going to be uh, poking your fruit whenever you go to drop it in the basket and poking holes in the skins or whatever, or just catching your shirt sleeve or your blouse or whatever. So I'm going to come over here, and I said this was 25 mil. And remember, I did a 25 millimeter offset. So I'm going to come over here to my radius tool, and I'm not going to do 12 and a half. I'm not going to do half of it. I'm going to do a little less. I'm going to say maybe 9 mil. And then come on to this corner and do a 9 millimeter there and a 9 millimeter there. And that just rounds over the corners, but it still keeps it nice and flat up here. If I would have done exactly half of the 12 or 25 millimeters, said 20 or say 12 and a half mil, not 125, 12 and a half mil, and clicked here and then tried to go here, there's not room for it now. Well, it worked. I wouldn't have expected that to work, but it gives it a completely rounded over shape. And I don't want that. I don't like that. I like having a little bit of a blunt end there. So I'm going to go back to 9. I put in 8. That'll work. Come on. Click already. There you go. And I just like that better. It's personal preference. You might like it fully rounded over. And there we go. So now I've got one piece. And I told you a minute ago, that's all you need is that one piece and times 10, and you got your basket. But I need 2 of those to have legs on them. Not 2 of them. 2 on either axis, so a total of 4. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to duplicate it, bring it up top, and get it out of the way. So I'm going to need my original. I'm going to bring this one up a little bit. I'm going to duplicate it. Then I'm going to mirror it. Then I need to know how tall do I want my basket to sit? How high do I want this? And do I want to keep the bottom of the basket off of my countertop? I don't want to have the feet here and the middle of the basket sitting on the countertop. I want the feet to be what's supporting it. And I've only got it about 5 millimeters or 10 millimeters high. It's not very high at all. But then I need to know, well, how and that's more important than anything. But if you have these arches, the feet, if you leave them too tall, it's going to push your basket really, really high, and it's going to look really funny, like you got a couple of or a single McDonald's arch under each side, and it's not going to look as nice. So I think you'd want to have the legs about as short as possible and still get the bottom of the basket off of the ground. So how do you do that? Off the counter. Well, bring you another guideline down. And if you select the guideline, hold shift, select your arch, and then Alt Shift V will move that right to the very bottom of that arch. Now you can take and you say, well, I don't want this to be on the countertop. I want it to be 10 millimeters off the counter. Well, then if you put your move tabs where you know where they're at, I'm going to say I'm going to put my arrow movement to 10 millimeters and say, okay. Now, if I select that line and arrow down one time, that gives me a 10 millimeter gap from the bottom of the basket to the countertop. So now I need to take this one and hold shift and select that guideline again and use Alt Shift V, and that'll put it right there to that line. Now it is now going to lift that basket 10 millimeters off if that is going to be if those are going to be my legs. So now what am I going to do? I'm going to use my scissors again. I'm just going to come in here and snip away here, and here, and here. and then those go bye-bye. And get rid of the toolpath. So now I've got my ribs and I've got my legs. I need to duplicate this one time right now, and I can bring it down. It's not going to fit there yet, so we'll just bring it over here, because I'm going to have, one of these with slots from the top and one slots from the bottom. Then these I'm going to need to have one, two. Well, this is 4, so I need 6 of these. Is that right? Yep, 4, 5, 6. But I need 3 of each. So I'm going to duplicate it once and bring that over here. And now I'm starting to get my bottom slots and top slots organized. All right, now I'm showing you how I created the design that you can go download, or you can use this and create your own very, very easy. Because you can see this is going to be a very quick and easy design to put together. But I've done it with 5 ribs, X and Y. The more you put in there, the more it's going to fill up. It'll have a different look to it. I don't think it'll be a bad look. It'll just be a different look. And if you decide you don't want to do it with the legs, then you would definitely need to use more than 5 ribs. You would need to use 6 and 6, because using 6 and 6 would give you that perfect square right in the middle. That could then serve as its balancing point. All right, so how do you get all the ribs lined up? This is a really, really super, super challenging part. If you decided you're going to do 5 ribs, I'm going to come in here and let's get my rectangle tool. And I'm going to just draw out a rectangle and say unlock the aspect ratio. And we're going to start with, for design purposes, I'll do them as 3 millimeters. And I'm going to do it at 30 height. So, okay. Now, for this, I'm going to put it in the center. All right. So that centers that up. Now I'm going to use my shift arrow button and arrow it down. And I did 30 mil because you'll see in a minute, these are going to need to vary in length. But there's 1. I'm going to duplicate 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got a total of 5 of those here now. Now, this is important. That's the easy part. That's where it needs to go. The one thing you have to be careful of when you're figuring out how many ribs you're going to use is making sure that when you get your alignment, your spacing, that you don't have one of them that's going to want to come up here in the middle of this leg. So I've got that one right at the corner of that leg, and that one's going to be just out there like so. And same thing here. So what I did was duplicate that and then come over here, and you could put it right there in the corner of that. And you can see how it needs to be longer. You can hold control and stretch that out. And right now we're going to, and I'm seeing an issue here where these are close together, but still I didn't have it. I must have went a little more than 10 millimeters off than what I thought. Yeah. Because now if I'm going to bring another one over here, because you want to keep, in fact, you know what? I didn't do this, but now that I'm looking at it and I'm backing into it, this is the second or third time that I've designed this, but I haven't designed it the way I'm getting ready to show you. And I think this is what I probably could have, should have, would have done and made it a better design or a quicker, easier put together design. So I'm going to delete these. No, not do that. I'm going to grab it like that and delete those two for right now. I'm going to keep those. Or no, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to undo it all until I get back to before I had my legs welded together. All right. Now, if I take and do my rectangle and tell it again 3, and this time I'm going to go 3 by 40 because I can see that wasn't going to work. And now if I bring that to the center of this, then arrow it down. So I know I've got it. There we go. And I need 4 copies. So Control D, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm going to take this and I'm going to bring it over here. I'm going to take this one up here out of the way so it doesn't confuse anybody. I'm going to look at where these need to go. I'm going to bring this one over here. And I'm going to put, I don't think I went right to the very corner. I didn't. Actually, you know what? I think I did. I think I went right to the radius. So now, who here has watched the snapping cursors video? Show of hands. Who's watched snapping cursors? If you haven't watched the snapping cursors video, you need to go watch that because the snapping cursors can make designing a whole lot easier. And I think I did do it this way the first time I did this. And this is, I guess if there was a good thing about having a stroke riddled brain is sometimes doing things 2 and 3 times is actually like doing it for the first time every time because you don't remember what you did. So I'm going to pull this over here to where I can grab this corner right here. And once I grab this corner, there we go. I'm going to look for my snapping cursor right there. So that tells me that's where the first node is on that radius. And it's important that that's where I put that. Then I'm just going to drag this down. I'll come over here to this one. I'll grab that corner. And I'm going to look for that same snapping radius or snapping cursor. It's up here. Oh, is that it? Yep, that's it. All right, now I've got these two at their extreme most position. That's where that radius starts and that one starts. And that's going to be my extreme left and extreme right. I've got 3 copies right here. And if I select all 5 of those and tell it to distribute them evenly with spaces between them, spaces them out like that. Now it looks kind of funky. The spacing, I'll bring that up and then bring this one up. It looks like these are so much closer together than these are, but it works. It's freaky, but it works. So there's the position that they need to be in. And now I can come in here and I can use my measuring tool. And I thought I could, it'd be nice if it worked like the scissors to where it would your measuring tool goes from nodes to nodes or whatever. It'd be nice if it went from intersection to intersection too, but it doesn't. But I can use my snapping cursors, get right there and get my crosshairs and measure down to the next right there. All right, so that's at the very bottom, and that's going to be perfectly 25 millimeters. So now I can take this and I'm going to tell it to be half of 25 millimeters. I'm going to put my anchor point in I'm going to put it in the middle. the very center. And the height needs to be, and if you're not good at math, and in a minute, we're going to need to do this. We know it's 25, so half of this is 12 and a half. But if you're not aware, you can put in your 25 millimeter value, and then the divider in your calculator, divide by 2, and it does the math for you. It's 12 and a half. Now, I'm going to use my arrows to bring this up to the top of that. And once I get it at the very top of that line, if it's going to have, because of the curvature of that, I'm going to have a little bit. I need to make, see there, it doesn't quite make it, but the middle of it does. I need to get the corners to where it's above it. And that'll work. So that, then I'm going to duplicate this, Control D, duplicate it, and I'm going to bring it down until it Alt Shift V, and that's going to bump it right up against the other one. Then I need to make sure that I'm going to get, and it doesn't quite make it there. I'm just going to hold shift or drag that down, just lengthen it. That puts my intersection right in the middle of that. Do the same thing over here, but now this one is not going to be 25 millimeters. So I'm going to use my ruler again, come over here and measure that to that snapping cursor. It's 27.29. All right, so select that one. The height needs to be 27.29 divided by 2. And then I'm going to, oh, wrong button. There we go. Same thing here. I got to get this point up to there. All right, got that. I'm going to Control D, duplicate that, bring it down, hold Shift, Alt Shift V to align it there. That puts my intersection right in the middle there, and I'll stretch. Oh, I didn't want to stretch the whole thing down. Control Z to undo that. There we go. And I'll stretch that one down. Same thing over here. I'm not, and this is my where they need to be, but I'm not going to do this again over here. I don't need to. All I got to do is say Control D, duplicate it, group those together, the duplication, and then tell it to go to the center, the vertical center of this piece. And that should bring it straight over to the vertical center of that. And then I can just select that really long one and get rid of it. Here, much, much longer, deeper slot. Oh, don't want that. I want my ruler. And measure from my snapping cursor to the next snapping right there, 43.15. So that needs to be 43.15 divided by 2. And bring it up. Oh, I keep forgetting to deselect. There we go. And now arrow up. And oh, right about there. Control D, duplicate it, arrow it down, hold my shift button, select that, Alt Shift V, bring it right up there. And that should be, oh, you know what? It's because of how that, the lines up here. So that's actually going to make it, this one wasn't that bad off. This one, I need to look at that distance from up here, straight line down to there, because that's the true length of that. 49.45, 49.45. 49.45 divided by 2. Oh, and I got both of those selected. Let's do just this one. 49.45. That's the right size it needs to be. And now bring that. Yeah, I got it. All right, that there. Get rid of that one. Control D, duplicate it, bring that down. Alt Shift V. There we go. Now that puts me my corner point right there and a corner point right there. That's the way I should have done it. And what's Chris saying? When measuring to get slot size, always measure on same side where my OCD will kick in. I hear you about OCD. Measuring on the same side. Yeah. Here, because of that arc, we need to measure from where that's going to intersect there, and then bring it over here and measure down to where it's going to intersect over here, and then divide that by half. And that's a more accurate, that's directly in the middle of where that piece is going to sit. So Control D, duplicate that, group them so they stay in their proper orientation, and then put it in the vertical center and get rid of that one that we don't need. And now we got that. Now, and you would benefit from doing the same thing here. And since we have that now, we've got that there, and you can actually see that's a little high than the middle. So that we're going to get rid of. Come back over here with the ruler, come to that corner right here, because that's where it intersects with the curve. Hold my shift button and draw down to my snapping cursor right there. 28.8. So 28.8 divided by, actually, you know what? Before I do that, I'm going to change my anchor point. I've got my anchor, that's perfectly positioned. So I'm going to put my anchor point in that top left corner. And now tell it 28.8 divided by 2. And that will keep that right where it needs to be, and just extended that down. And now Control D, duplicate it. Select that duplicate. Alt Shift V to bring it together, and there we go. So now there's your intersection on that arc, and there's on that arc. That is a perfect combination. I'm going to put these two, they're grouped, that's good, and I'm going to put them on a blue toolpath so they're easily identifiable. Grab those two, Control D, duplicate them, temporarily group them, and then do the horizontal or the vertical center. Then come in here and grab my blues and get rid of those. Now I need to ungroup anything that I had grouped. Done. I don't need that toolpath right now. I'm going to get it out of the way. All right. So now I've got all of my slots positioned, and I got the one curve done there. Now what I need to do is I can get rid of this one. I need to take this, Control D, duplicate that, bring it over here. Then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to grab that one and delete it, delete it, delete it, delete it, and delete it. Now group all of these together and then say A, subtract B, Boolean subtract, and I've got my first piece. Come over here to this one. I'll go ahead and, just for giggles, duplicate it again and set it up here just in case I need it. But now I need the bottom slot, so I'll delete it, delete it, delete it, delete it, delete it. Group them all together. Select the arch A, subtract B, and there's the bottom one. All right, so now I've got my slots in place, That will help me make sure that when I put my legs in place, I'm not going to be interfering with the alignment or the position of any of the slots. And since it's not going to matter at all with these top ones, it's only going to possibly interfere with these bottom ones. I'm going to align it to the center of this one and look at the position of where that's going to be. And you see it needs to be in between here and here. And the closer, the more room you've got between here and here, it's going to make it easier to assemble. And that's why I went with it down there. But does it need to be all the way down there? No. And the further down you put it, the taller it's going to be off your countertop. But that, if I got all the way to the corner right about in there, that would work. And again, I wished I could remember how or why I did what I did, how I got such short stubbies and got them where they're at. Because I used the same arch and just flipped it over and welded it in place. And that's all I wanted, or didn't I used the scissors. But that right there, that would work. I can just take my scissors and cut, 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 and actually, you know what I should have done? Before I did that, I should have made sure I was in exact all alignment. So Control Z, undo is your best friend. So first, let's take this rib. Oh, what happened? Where'd it go? Control Z, put that back here. All I did was click on it and it went away. Oh, because I got my scissors turned on, dummy. Select that one, and put them aligned with each other so they're at the same horizontal height. Now, if that's where I want this to be, then I'm going to select my legs, Control D, duplicate it, and put it in the center of this one. And just by clicking on center it up, because I had my height correct, they're going to be at the same levels. And I can then weld those together. I don't want to weld them, because if you use your Boolean tools, then you're going to still have your arches up here, and you don't want that up there. So you're going to use your scissors to get rid of the pieces you don't want. And I think that's enough. I think you should be able to select that and delete, and that and delete, and the same thing over here. Scissors, cut, 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 and 1, 2, 3. So now I've got those. That needs to be duplicated. Now I got 2 of them. That needs to be duplicated. Now I got 4 of my 6 pieces. I want to grab one of them. I have to grab both of them. Let's see. You just cut off the bottom of the legs. Put top of arch to bottom of outer slots. Cut the feet to the height you want. Well, you can, no, Ed, no, that is not the right way to do it. There's only one way to do it, and that's the way I'm telling you how. Sorry, I was impersonating somebody else. There's always another way. There's so many different ways to do and accomplish these things. And like I said, that's my second or third one I put together, and I went through a couple different of morphs before I got to one that I really really liked. And with everything going on in my world, I don't, and with that not being just one version, I've done a couple of different of these before I got one that I like. I don't remember the exact process I got to get to there. Uh, well, I'm glad you found that humorous. That don't scare you. I can be a rascal. Sometimes you have to laugh to keep from crying. Oh, God bless you, Melissa. Thank you. All right, so we got the four legs, and I don't know if I did something in the design process that was that I've got. I did something wrong. You just cut the bottom of the legs. Put the top of the arch to the bottom of the outer slots. But I got there. Got there. And I'm curious about what Chris has got there. Let's go over here. And just for giggles, I'm going to grab one of these, duplicate that, bring it over here. Control D, duplicate that, bring that over here. Mirror it. And Chris said, what did he say? Put the bottom of the arch to the outer slots. But like something like that right there. I'm guessing something like that is what he's talking. Then you need to move them down so you can assemble. Yeah, there's a bunch of different ways. The most important thing to think about when you're positioning where these legs are going to be is are they going to be in, and this rib is the wrong rib to compare it to. You need to make sure that it's not going to, the legs are not going to interfere when you're trying to assemble this piece. The legs don't need to be, something like that. And now your slot's not going to be the right size, or in the middle of it like that. And that actually would work if you just cut all of that out. But I was trying to keep all of my radius, all my arcs, everything the same. So I was, from a visual, if you could see that complete arch as it went over for the legs, it would be the mirror of that arch. Your mind could potentially put that together and see that. But as always, it's not so much about how to do this design as it is how to do designs like this. Because like I said, if you were just, instead of 5 ribs, if you did 6 ribs, you wouldn't even need the feet. And if you spaced it large enough, you could have a large enough base, or you might even do something completely different. If you did it with 6 ribs, you've got a central square in the center of the basket now, then you could actually make a base that would sit on, and that actually might look pretty good. I think I just gave myself a pretty good idea. You could make that something. You wouldn't want to make it really tall. It need to be large enough and broad enough at the bottom that it would, be stable, but it could be customizable, and that's a whole nother idea. I did good. I think I might do that for a twist on this design next week. All right. Let's see here. what's done. There's no radius on the sample's legs. Looks like they were cut. Oh, there is. You're talking about on here. Yeah, we got to fix that. I ain't got there yet. Golly, Dawn. Pull back on them reins. Whose show is this? Mine or yours? Hold your horses. I did make my duplicates, but I ain't got there yet. But good catch. Good catch. But we ain't got there yet. And that is how I got my height figured out. So let's see. All of this is garbage. Now, so I've done my legs. Now I needed these ribs. And these ribs are the same process here, except I don't have to worry about the. In fact, I should have, if I wanted to be as efficient as possible, did my slot placement first. And then before I put my legs on there, made duplicates and put them out of the way because they're the same. They're all the same. Everything is identical. So get your placement right, top and bottom placement for your slots figured out, cut those, then take a duplicate of each one of those, move it out of the way, you're done. Now you add your legs, you're done. So what I'm getting ready to do now is repetition. I've already done it once. I shouldn't have to do it again because I didn't do it the first time. I didn't save that a duplicate. So I just need to duplicate that, bring that over here, delete the top ones for this one, group them all. A, subtract B. Get rid of my bottom ones. Group them. Oh, wrong button. But here's what's beautiful. And Stacy, thank you. Stacy taught me this. I hit the wrong, I selected the priority or the wrong group first. I just hit undo and just click on subtract again, and it gives me the right one. So if you haven't seen that yet, Stacy's the one that taught me about that. The Boolean subtraction tool works by priority. What you A subtract B is how that Boolean subtract tool works. But there's also B subtract A. If you go to the Boolean assistant, you have both A subtract B and B subtract A. And if you select B subtract A, but you actually wanted A subtract B, and you hit the subtract button and you get the wrong result, just undo and click the subtract button again, and it gives you the opposite result. So that's a big, that was a huge time saver for me that Stacy taught me. And again, this is, you're learning how to do a project like this, but it's all about learning the techniques, and you get to see all of the flubs, yeah, and there's a lot. All right, so there is those, and we need what I say, 4 of those or 3 of those. So duplicate 1, 2, and then take and click on my middle selection there, arrow those 2 up here out the way like that. Then select all of them and distribute them evenly with spaces between them. Well, now that didn't work what I wanted to do. I was expecting it to do, maybe it's, I don't know why it did it like that. Try it again like that. That's what I was expecting. And that, there we go. but I don't know why it jumbled them all up. I was expecting to have two columns that look like, just like that. But there we got that. Now, this is how I changed my feet and got them to the height that I wanted. And now is when you come in here and determine how high you want this basket to be off your countertop. We want it to be 10 millimeters off the countertop. Well, let's get these two guys. There we go. And then there, now those are equal. And now let's snap that right to the bottom of that. And now use my arrow down button one time. That's 10 millimeters. And now I've got it like that. Don't need those. Put that on my red cut path. Use my scissors. Come in here and cut. Bye-bye. 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 And bye-bye. That's how I did that. So now I set how high I need the basket off. I've given my feet flat feet so that it'll sit comfortably on the table and not have, and you could put a slight radius on there if you wanted to. It might help if, prevent any chips or breaking or damage. You might come in here and just give it a 4 millimeter radius, something like that and that. But you do that after the fact. And I did not do that on mine, but that does look a little bit better, looks a little cleaner. And guys, if you're going to do this, if you're going to make these and take them and put them in the kitchen for the wife to have to put all your snacks in that she insists that you eat, that you really don't want any part of, putting those corners or those radiuses on there and get rid of those corners might come in really handy when she's throwing it at you from across the kitchen. There ain't nothing sharp that's going to hurt you. So there, we just designed 10 pieces that are going to interlock together and form a basket like that. Like I said, do 6 pieces, puts a square right in the middle. And I'm going to do that for next week. I'm going to modify this concept. And the base it'll be modular. I'll have the basket that will sit on that base, but I don't know that it actually, there's no reason for it not to be a permanent part, though. I started to say it wouldn't be permanent, but there's no reason for it not to be. So I would make that have the 6 slots in there on both ways, and that puts a central square. Make the base and attach it to that, and that'll give an entirely different look to it. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're an hour, 55 minutes in. We did a complete how-to. I got my legs switched, and then I switched some legs. Anybody got any questions about this design or anything else that they need to talk about or want to talk about? And I promise I won't yell at you anymore in this live stream. No, nothing. Well, just for giggles then, I'm going to go ahead and start playing with this 6 rib design. If you want to stick around for a little bit of this. Nope, I'm sleepy tonight. Well, I'm glad you're not snoozing right now. And when I was yelling, I probably woke you up. So, and Radu says, I can sleep with my eyes closed. Well, my grandfather, he used to it was funny. He didn't sleep with his eyes closed, but he would sleep and say he was never sleeping. He said, "I'm not sleeping. I was resting my eyes. I was resting my eyes. I wasn't asleep." And he was always resting his eyes in church on Sunday. And somebody nudged, "I'm not sleeping. I'm resting my eyes." All right. Let's see here. Let's get rid of all that and go back over here and go to my ellipse. Jer says, "I'm just thinking you maybe can do a raised part in the middle for other fruit to sit in." Oh, now see, Jer's got a really cool idea too. Another concept. You know what though, Jer? Instead of a piece that the fruit would sit in, what might be cool, or an even better piece, doing and it'll work with this new design. Ooh, Jer's just taken this new twist to this and gave me another idea that's going to work well for my personal use, and I think will work well with everybody who generally plans to use it as a fruit basket. Is I will make it a six rib piece with a central square that has a central base on it, and then from that central base will come up, and just for general simplicity and overall rigidity over time, use a 5/16 dowel and put a dowel that's maybe, I don't know, a foot tall or so, that's mounted into that base, glued in there, put a hook on it, and now I can hang my bananas. So I can hang the bananas, have the apples inside there. Instead of having my apples or my bananas laying there and my apples laying there. So hanging bananas and my apples in the base. Yeah. All right, let's see here. How big a laser will I need to put 14 watermelons in it? Well, I guess that would depend on the size of your watermelon. Or 3-tier, 2 or 3-tier basket. Yeah, I'm really liking. For practical uses right now for me. I've got lots of apples and bananas, and I don't mind having my apples intermixed because that's always kind of okay. Well, what am I getting today? I don't know. They're all jumbled up. You just grab one. And that looks good too. Having the Granny Smiths, the Golden Delicious, the Red Delicious, all those different colors all in the basket looks good. And then have the bananas supported up above. And that'll be just simple. Put a little hook in the dowel, put the dowel in the base, easy peasy. For strength, use acrylic. Yeah, I don't have any acrylic dowels. I got plenty of wooden dowels here. But yeah, and then plus too with acrylic though, I guess you could still drill and put the little hook in there, but using the wooden dowel, it's just easy screwing in that hook that's going to hold your bananas up there. So let's go look at, yeah, Ed says, a 4 foot by 4 foot, and, that'd be, that'd be 1,200 millimeters by 1,200 millimeter basket there. Yeah, you can hang your grapes on it. Well, I keep my grapes in the refrigerator. You don't refrigerate your grapes, Terry? I keep mine in the fridge. I like I like mine nice, crisp, and cold, and you bite into it and pop. And yeah, uh, I've even on a hot summer day, just for giggles, you throw them in the freezer for a little while. They, if you let them freeze solid, of course they're gonna pop and crack the skins open and all that. You know, it can make a mess. But you take them just in there just for a little bit, get them really super cold. Yeah, freeze them. Yeah, exactly. Uh, Make one of the arches a three-quarter arch and hang the bananas off of that. Yeah, if I'm making it out of 3 millimeter plywood, I'm be worried about over time how strong that would be. It'd look good. Um, but I'm thinking from a practical purpose, uh, I'm gonna stick with the dowel. And I like Melissa's. Hey, baby. That can get you in trouble though. Instead of a dowel, have a seed double thickness. I keep my grapes in the bottle. Oh, I got a bunch of clowns in the Hobo Nation. Uh, Cotton candy grapes, frozen with vodka. Cotton candy grapes. I didn't know there was such a thing. I don't even know what kind of grapes I eat. I eat green grapes, green seedless grapes. I don't know what kind they are. They just green. Must be party time. Use acrylic for the three-quarter piece to hang bananas. Yeah, I, yeah. And I'm just sitting here thinking, oh, you know, an arch up there for the banana hanger. You know, it almost would kind of mirror the shapes of the bananas they're hanging from. I mean, it actually could work and look pretty nice. Well, we don't have. I don't have any. I don't have any, or I don't have a large. You okay? You okay? Huh? Oh, that must have been something that wasn't implemented playing with something. Sorry about that. And everything's okay. Yeah, we don't have a large Amish community here, Miss Melissa. I'll have to look into that. Cotton candy grapes. I don't even know if that's something I can even pick up around here. Now we got muscadines. I don't know if you ever had any muscadine. But we had muscadine vines growing in the backyard when I was a kid, and you could just go out in the backyard and just grab your muscadines and pick them and eat them right out of the wild. And some of my friends in later life who were making muscadine wine. Oh, it's a song, I think, but it's a real thing down here, muscadine wine. Looks like we can take a simple solution and make it complex. Yep. Yeah, and that's just shows how many options can come from a basic start. And like I said, in the first one of these that I seen, like I said, it didn't have any feet on it, didn't have a base on it, didn't just one. And I'm like, huh, it looks cool, but it's just totally unstable. Uh, And let's see here. What are we at? We're at 105. Okay. This now that I've just did this. This shouldn't take, but actually, pretty good. I should be able to do this in 20 minutes or less. Let's see. Come in here, draw out a perfect circle. Tell it to be 295. Do an inward offset of 25 millimeters. Bring me a line down here. And this time I'm going to make it right about there. Put that on a cut path. Use my scissors. Cut, 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 and cut. No, cut right there. Get rid of the toolpath I don't need. And let's go ahead and put our radius on here. We'll do 9 mil here, 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 and here. And then I want to do three by 25 to begin with. I didn't unlock my aspect ratio. 3. There we go. Put that at the come on, that and that at the bottom and the center. That's exactly where that needs to be. Duplicate that, bring it up here, find my snapping point right there. Now stretch it down to there. Control D. Actually, I don't need to. Well, that's fine. I'll move that over here. And let's grab that. Control D, duplicate it, bring it over here. Then snap it. There. Control D, duplicate it, move it over here. Now distribute all of those evenly with space between them. Actually, you know what? No, I want to do 6 this time. So I need to duplicate that, bring that over here, and do that again. There we go. So now I need to just draw that up to where I got my corner right there and that radius right there. Come down here and look at the bottom, and I'll bring it up to there. This time I'm not even going to use my I'm not even going to mess with the measuring and rulers. I'm just going to eyeball everything. Eyeball it right to the corner there. Come down here, do the same thing. All right, now that I've got those all positioned right. Yep. Now all I got to do is pay attention to my anchor points. So I'm going to put my anchor point. There it is. It's in the top left. So take that and then divide that height by 2. Control D, duplicate it. Select it, bring it down. Alt-Shift-V, that's good. Anchor point, top left. And I don't know why I did those over there. Well, I needed to do it for placement purposes anyway. Now divide it by half again, divide it by 2, Control D, duplicate it, bring it down, Alt-Shift-V, divide it by half, Control D, duplicate it, select it, bring it down, select that one, Alt-Shift-V. Done. Now I can grab all of those, Control D, duplicate them, group them, mirror it, and then tell it to go to the center of that one. And that puts them all where I need them to be. And I can now select everything and ungroup everything. And now there's some duplicates over here that I need to get rid of. And if I select those two and put them on a toolpath temporarily, I didn't even have to do that. I could leave them on the cut path and just know what my movement is. I'll just arrow over one time, get some out of the way, delete that, and then select those and arrow them right back over. That's in the proper place. Grab the middle here, arrow over one, grab that, delete it, arrow over one back, and that's in place. Grab the middle, delete, arrow back, done. All right, duplicate that. And actually, I can get both of those. Group, then A, subtract B, done. Control D, duplicate just for the heck of it. And then, see, I got rid of, those are the tops, I need the bottoms. Try and get more than, only ones I can get duplicates of is there, and there we go. And then group it. A, subtract B. All right, now let's move this one over out the way. And grab that and that, duplicate those, bring those up here, and grab this one, duplicate it, mirror it, center it up. There we go. Now I've got my slots in place. I can see where I need to put the legs for assembly purposes. And because remember, putting these in place here, that's going to be a little bit tough. This is going to be a little bit more, this one will be a little more challenging to put together with 6 pieces in there. But watch what because we want to make sure we got room to bring a 1-inch piece of material in here and get it up into position. So for giggles, let's do, I'm just doing this for everybody else to see what I'm looking at in my mind. If I've got a 3 millimeter piece here that is 25 millimeters tall, that's what this rib is going to be. That's got to come in here and slide up into here. So when I'm looking here, it needs to have at least that much clearance for that to get in there to slide straight up. So those legs, that arch needs to be at least to there. And I haven't been looking at the comments here. Let's see here. Andy, I ain't going to do another 2 hours, but if you're already going, good night. 87 varieties of grapes. Wow. After duplicating top half of slide dock down, then up 2 clicks, no keystroke solution. After duplicating the top half of the slot, dock it downwards, then up 2 clicks, no keystroke solution. All right, I think I follow what you're talking about there. Did you want to flatten the bottom of the base for the arc of the base, or extend that section down? Did you want to flatten the bottom of the arc? Nah, I don't want to. If you, I don't quite follow you on your line of thinking there, Radu, but whatever you're seeing in your mind's eye would work. I don't follow it at this particular moment. But if I've got this, it's centered up, and I've got room to get my piece in here and assembled, make sure that this and this are on the same plane, and they are. So I can now just duplicate that, Control D, and then put that here. And I've got those, this. Oh, wait a minute. Come I got sidetracked a minute ago. I had a little accident, and I forgot where I was at when I come back. We're not doing this one with the legs. This one we're going to do with the base on it. Dummy. That was dummy. Oh. That might have been what prompted Radu's question there. It says, couldn't you put the ribs in on an angle to get them started? Not if you have not if you've got a good tight kerf. If your kerf wait till you put your first one of these together by yourself and your kerf is too loose and you're trying to get all of it. And if we did the 5 ribs, it's tough. Now we're doing 6 ribs, and you got to get everything lined up right and get everything positioned right. You do not want to complicate things by trying to having to bring it in and up, and then you want it to go straight in. You don't want to be fighting anything else. Trust me, you don't want to be fighting anything when you're putting this together. You want it to be straight lines, done. Couldn't you put the ribs in on an? No, we did. I just did that one. The curve between the 2 center slots should be a straight line. The curve between the 2 center. I guess you're talking about there at the bottom of the base. Depends. It depends. I think if for what I'm going to do, yes, I would need to modify that once I put the base concept together there. But I think the original piece that I looked at in one of the Etsy photographs, they just let the geometry of the 6 pieces that come together formed a perfect square. There's very little curve there at that's one center section right there, and it looked like it'd be maybe a little bit stable. But yeah, if you wanted to make sure it was as stable as possible, put that in a flat straight line there for it to sit. That would be a wise thing to do. But for the base that I'm going to be incorporating, yes, most likely that will need to be a straight line so it can sit on a straight line when you put the base together. Assembling upside down would be easier, and it's still a little bit of a pain. No, it's this thing, and like I said, this one was more of a pain than the first one because I forgot to resize the slots and selections. All my slots were too big. I did it at 3 millimeters and didn't resize it to 2.7 like the material. So now my slots are too big and too sloppy. And then so I'd get one in, and the next thing I know, one would fall out over here, and then what? And like, so that can be your best friend. A little bit of CA activator, but you want to make sure you're flush and in the proper position before you super glue them in. All right, so this one, since we're going to do the base, I don't need the legs. So I'm going to get rid of this and get rid of this. We don't need the legs. And because we're not doing the legs, well, God bless you too. What? $21. He just had to go and outdo Melissa. Melissa did the $20, and I said thank you and bless you. But you know, Three Dogs has just got to come in there and do one better. I did 21. Thank you. God bless you and thank you. Let's see here what it said, saying, how about a rectangle drawn from the second slot from the left across the opposite side? Then, man, you're turning this into a geometry problem, and I don't. And you done lost me on the second slot from the right of the top of the left with your arm sticking out. What? How about a rectangle drawn from the second slot from the left across the opposite side, then to the bottom? You lost me. I can't see it. And again, that's the whole idea of doing this. And what did Three Dogs says? Thank you for being an amazing teacher. That is my whole goal here is teach you how to do this. So you see these things and how, okay, now, because Robert reached out to me, was it last night? And he just could not envision seeing how to get the slots into their correct. He knew what he wanted to do. He just didn't know how to get the slots in the right orientation in this box. So we got together, and now he's able to do it. He's figured it out, got it done. Now he won't have to ask about it again. If he does, hey, you know what? I forget what I'm doing, and I have to go back and watch my own videos. But by you seeing the concept, the basic idea of how to get these interlocking pieces to work, how to get the slot geometries working, and now you can take this and start. And I love all the different creative ideas. And it's right brain, left brain. I cannot. And so Carl says he's got it. I get what you're talking about to make the base, but you lost me on where the second slot from the right from the house on the corner next to the Burger King. I didn't follow all the placement part of it where you were talking about, but you do, and so do some of the others. And if it's a way you can take this and morph it and make it into something that's even more unique and make it your own, that's what we're here for, to learn to do these things. And Three Dogs says, you have taught me how to make not only a box, but how to insert slot. Yeah. That's so. All right. Maybe another live stream can do some kind of candy bowl dish. People may want that for upcoming Christmas. The candy bowl. I've got some trick or treat bowls and stuff like that on the online now. That's just octagonal boxes that could serve as a candy dish. I just thought this was unique. You know, the it's not something you see every day. All right. So let's get back over here and see how I'm going to incorporate this base in here because I've got another 4 minutes to do this. All right. So, uh, 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 these are all the same. That's the extra piece. All right. So, how wide of a square do I have here? So, if I come here to here, there we go. That tells me how wide that square would be. 46 millimeters. All right. So if that's 46 millimeters, then my base, in fact, I don't need this anymore and I don't need this anymore because I've got those there. So if I'm going to do a base that's going to fit into that square, actually, I need to go from the inside. Now, uh, here's a wrinkle in this design. If I did it with 6 pieces and I've got a central square that's in the middle, so that's in the very middle, and I've done it with designed it with 3 millimeters, and I changed my material thickness for my slot size, and it's only 2.7. Well, when I do that, it's going to change the size of that middle square. That middle square is not a fixed, it's a fixed size with that material design, but the minute you change your slot size, that's going to change your base. Now, mind you, it's not going to be much. Let's see. Because if you go from 3 and it gets smaller, you go from 3 to 2.7, that's 3/10 times 2. It's going to be a half millimeter in either direction. But if you needed to go bigger, then now your base wouldn't fit. So that's something to consider on this concept. Do y'all follow what I'm talking about? Because, like I said, I got lost on some of y'all's comments. Did I lose any of y'all there? By changing the thickness of the material, I'm going to change the dimensions of that in that central located square. And if I design my base to fit into that, and as soon as I resize my slots, I've changed the dimensions of that square. But the base is not that size of that base is not going to change. Expand the rectangle out to the next 2 slots. And expanding it to the next 2 slots would give it a bigger, more stable base. Well, set the slot size and then design the base. Yeah, that would work, Roger. That would take care of my problem. But if I'm putting this completed design on my website for sale, then a novice or beginner user may not recognize the problems, and then they're like, wait a minute, this design don't work. Well, it did if you didn't change. But then the whole idea is I like to have my stuff so that it is light burn friendly and you can resize slots and shapes and everything works fine. So I may have to rethink that. may have to rethink that. And I like what Ed's saying there. If you made it bigger, taking it out to the next two slots, make the base even bigger. That's going to make this more stable instead of sitting on a, what was it, 49 millimeter or a 2 millimeter square? Because I can branch that out. Oh, I know what. Ooh. Well, no. Oh, that's what screws are for. You can make the base part of the four center curves. Base should be last part after the resizing. Well, but what Bob just said is going to take all that out of the equation completely, or design a base with slots to for it. That could work too. But if I'm picking up what Chicago Bob's laying down here about integrating the base into the actual four, integrated into these four ribs. So it's actually part of the design. It's not modular. It's one piece. That's going to make it a whole lot more stable. Yeah. I have to rethink that. I'm not going to be able to do. I might put some thought into this. And I like Roger's idea too about make the base with slots in it, and that way everything's slotted. It's all resizable, and that would work. So both Roger and Bob got some really good ideas, and that's what I meant when I said extend the flat section to make the footing. Gotcha. Yeah. Yep. So I'm gonna think about that. Put my thinking cap on and go back to the drawing board. But this is a good functional basket as is. It's a good simple basket. Some people may not even want bananas. They hate bananas, don't need bananas, and so doing the base with the banana hanger on it is absolutely useless to them. So it's good to have variations. Yeah. Lots of good ideas. So again, good exchange. I do appreciate your feedback always. Uh, and unless I'm being a complete jerk and for fun, I'm never going to yell at you and tell you you're doing it wrong. There's always another way to do things. And I love the feedback and suggestions because my ideas and my ways are not always the best ways. There's always another way, and sometimes there's better ways. Is the design on top of the rolly on your website? Is these? Is it what you're talking about? Yeah, these are on the website. Those are my those are my Chippendale planters. And wrong button. There we go. Let's see. I had to throw the plant out of this one today. That was it died. I had to get rid of my plant, but I put a base in there because it was a small plant. But it works. It's functional. And the Chippendale planter was the very first wood project that I ever made when I was 16 years old at my first job. It was an uncle giving me a job out of pity. He had an unfinished furniture business, and he had jigs set up where I took scraps of material and made panels that made each panel, and then bratted all those together into the square and made the planter, Chippendale planter. But that was my very first job, is making these all day long in an assembly. Tack, 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 glue, 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 tack, 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 and done. But yeah, that's on the website. Oh. There's always another way to do it, but if it doesn't work, do Hobo's way. uh, the cactus part. Now that's a real living cactus, if that's what you're talking about. I gotta be careful because it hurts. But that's an honest to God potted living cactus. And it's a unique cactus, and that's why I bought it. And when I purchased it, it was actually standing up straight, but I haven't been rotating it enough, and it's got Peyronie's disease. My cactus has Peyronie's disease. Oh. But no, that's from where it's wanting to grow toward the sunshine. All right, okay, boys and girls, I need to go. And I appreciate you coming and hanging out on the Grinch Christmas tree. Where are you? Are you talking about over here? My Charlie Brown Christmas tree? That is on the site too. And let's see. The cactus is a Grinch Christmas tree. There's my painted up Charlie Brown tree. That's on the site. All right, boys and girls, I'm going to get off here and go get some rest. And I appreciate you guys. I appreciate your support. Appreciate you hanging out. I hope you learned a little something tonight. And like I said, it was a good exchange of ideas. And we'll look for a new version of the fruit basket that'll drop online probably sometime after the first of the week. Got to do some serious thinking about the idea, the how I'm gonna put that together. This is the simplest and easiest possible and most stable version. I like the idea of the base having the banana hanger on it. Could do it instead of having the base on it and the central piece coming up to hang the bananas. You could change the design. See, there's always another way. There's always another way. You could change the design on it so that one corner extended on up and one corner over here extended on up. And then you put a banana hammock in there. And you just put the bananas in the banana hammock instead of hanging them. Oh. Yeah, Let's see here. Uh, I am. I've been struggling all week with uh AFib, and that scare a minute ago got me a little excited, and I'm hurting. Uh, what is this? Is I can see that as the start of a light shade. Yeah, yeah. Okay, boys and girls, y'all have a good night, and I will see you either in a video next week, or if I plan to have videos up, not just lives, but plans, best laid plans, you know. Um, and if you haven't been keeping up with the Intelligence Unmasked, I did get a video up in Intelligence Unmasked, and it's, I think, pretty interesting. I asked Chat GPT if AI is in the Bible. And of course, it says no, artificial intelligence is not in the Bible. And before the end of the 20-minute conversation or so, it does a complete reversal and has to, okay, sorry, I was wrong. So that's an interesting idea over on Intelligence Unmasked. Go check that out. All right. So, everybody have a good weekend, and I will see you in the next one.